Well, hello everybody. I have some more movie plots for you guys, and we got three movie plots, and there's gonna be a theme for this one. The theme is the Brady Bunch. So I'm gonna take you through three of the Brady Bunch's best movies, which will be the Brady Bunch movie, a Very Brady sequel, and the Brady Bunch in the White House. So let's get this started. So, Larry Dittmeyer, a real estate developer, convinces all the families in his neighborhood except for the Brady family to sell their property as part of a plan to turn the area into a shopping mall. The Bradys have their own problems. Jan is jealous of her elder popular sister Marcia. Cindy is tattling about everything she hears. Greg is dreaming of becoming a singer, but sings pop songs more appropriate to the 1970s. Peter is undergoing puberty, and his voice is starting to break. He is exposed to numerous simulations through sex ed, and his very attractive teacher, Miss Lindley. He is also trying to win the affection of the girl he loves, Holly, but thinks his shy and awkward personality prevents him from doing so. Bobby is excited about his new role as a hall monitor at school. Cindy gives Mike and Carol a tax delinquency notice, mistakenly delivered to the Dittmeyers, stating that they face foreclosure on their house if they do not pay $20,000 in back taxes. The two intentionally ignore the crisis, but when Mike's architectural design, which is exactly the same as their house, is turned down by two potential clients, he tells Carol that they may have to sell the house. Cindy overhears this and tells her siblings. They look for work to raise money to save the house, but their earnings are nowhere near enough to reach the required sum. Mike sells a Japanese company on one of his dated designs, thereby securing the money, only for Larry to sabotage it by claiming that Mike's last building collapsed. On the night before the Bradys have to move out, Marcia suggests they enter a search for the stars contest, the price of which is, in fact, 20 grand. Jan, having initially suggested this and been rejected, runs away from home after being fed up that she has to be the chopped liver of the family. Cindy sees her leave and tattles again, but this time it made sense. And the whole family goes on a search. They use their car's citizen band radio, and their transmission is heard by Schultze, a long-haul trucker who picks up Jan and convinces her to return home. Now, if you take a good look at the trucker, Schultze, you might recognize her as Alice from the real Brady Bunch TV show. That trucker was Ann B. Davis. The next day, the children join the search for the stars contest. Peter finally builds the confidence to stand up to Eric Dittmeyer, Peter's tormentor and Holly's boyfriend. This earns him a kiss from Holly, which gives him a deep masculine voice. The children's dated performance receives a poor audience response compared to a more modern performance of other bands. However, the judges, which just so happens to be three popular band members from the old boys band, the Monkees. The judges were Davy Jones, Mickey Dolenz, and Peter Tork. The three members vote for the Bradys, and they win the contest as a result. The tax bill is paid, and their neighbors withdraw their homes from the market, foiling Larry's plan and securing the neighborhood. And the Bradys break the good news to Carol's mother and finally convinces Jan to stop being jealous of Marcia, only for Cindy to start feeling envious of Jan. So Jan has been going through awful problems in this movie. It's because of how popular Marcia is. Jan wants to be popular, but can never get a hold of it. She thinks it's because of those glasses that she wears. And she suffers from inner voices that torments her every step of the way. But she managed to get through it. Alright, next we're going to do a Very Brady sequel. So, one evening while all the Bradys are building a tower of playing cards, a man comes to the door claiming to be Carol's long-lost first husband, Roy Martin. He shows up to the Brady's residence. This causes Carol to faint in shock. The Bradys believe his story about suffering from amnesia and having plastic surgery after being injured. Mike has been planning a surprise second wedding renewal of vows for himself and Carol for their anniversary present. And Roy's arrival throws the Bradys into chaos. Throughout Roy's stay, he is openly hostile to the Bradys, albeit with his sarcasm and insults completely going over their heads. Peter, who is trying to decide on a career path, begins to idolize and emulate Roy, which gets him into trouble at the architecture firm where Mike works. Peter later mentions Roy talking about the big house, and Mike, who learns that it means prison, starts becoming suspicious. Meanwhile, Greg and Marcia both want to move out of their shared rooms, and when neither wants to back down, they have to share the attic together. When Roy's arrival suggests that Carol and Mike might not be married, Greg and Marcia wonder whether they are not technically related. This leads them to separately realize they are in love with each other, which they try to hide from one another. Bobby and Cindy start a detective agency to hunt down her missing doll, Kitty Carryall. Upon finding it, they stumble upon a photograph revealing the truth about Roy. He is actually a con man named Trevor Thomas. There to steal a familiar horse statue that is actually an ancient artifact worth $20 million. The kids reveal Trevor's plan to Carol and confront Trevor, who, realizing his cover is blown, kidnaps Carol, taking her with him to Hawaii, where he plans to sell the artifact to a buyer named Dr. Whitehead, and ties Alice and the kids up to keep them from intervening. Mike, who's now fully aware of Trevor's deception, alerts the police, frees Alice and the children, and the family flies to Hawaii to save Carol and foil Trevor's plan. In Hawaii, Carol manages to escape from Trevor and find her way to Dr. Whitehead's estate before Trevor gets there. It turns out Trevor was responsible for the boating accident that led to the disappearance of Dr. Whitehead's son Gilligan, and Carol's first husband, a professor. In Dr. Whitehead's words, the minnow is lost, and he refuses to pay Trevor for the horse. Trevor attempts to hold Dr. Whitehead and Carol at gunpoint for payment, but Mike and the family arrive just in time to intervene. And after a brief scuffle between the two men, Mike quickly gains the upper hand and subdues Trevor, who is subsequently arrested. Dr. Whitehead offers to pay the Bradys the $20 million for the horse, but Mike declines the offer, claiming it's a symbol of their togetherness. Instead, Cindy decides to give him her doll to console him. After almost losing her mother, she has outgrown it. Jan, at one point in the movie, made up a pretend boyfriend named George Glass in order to make herself seem more popular. But in Hawaii, the name George Glass turns out to not be a fake. It is a real name. And while in the search, Jan meets the boy named George Glass, and they become a couple. As Mike and Carol renew their vows in a ceremony held at their home, Marcia agrees to let Greg have the attic to himself until he goes to college. And the two share one last on-screen kiss before returning to being brother and sister. The movie ends with Carol tossing the bouquet, and a genie named Jeannie arrives just in time to catch it. She then claims to be Mike Brady's first wife. Much to Mike and Carol's dismay, this causes Carol to faint in shock once again. Dang. All right, time for the last one. The Brady Bunch in the White House. Bobby finds a winning lottery ticket during his hall monitor duties, but Mike insists that it be returned to the rightful owner. Mike then invites people to the house to prove they are the owner, but none are able to answer correctly what the original owner wrote on the back of the ticket. A local newscaster hears the story, and Mike agrees to an interview in hopes of finding the original owner. As a montage plays of multiple stations discussing the Brady story, the original owner is being sentenced to execution on death row and is unable to claim his winnings. Since he is not able to find the original owner, Mike decides to donate the money to charity, which attracts the attention of the President of the United States. At the time, that was President Randolph. President Randolph then invites him to a press conference where the president is asked about his dealings with an oil drilling company that has been abusing the environment. President Randolph insists that he has never had any dealing with the company and swears to resign if he is disproven. The press then asks who will be his running mate, and Carol suggests Mike. President Randolph agrees to pick Mike as his running mate, and they are shown to win the election. However, just before the president and Mike are to be sworn in, evidence reveals that President Randolph has made dealings with the oil company and is thus forced to resign, which makes Mike the new president. Mike then needs to select a new vice president, and he picks Carol. He asks Congress for permission to appoint her, and initially the Speaker of the House, Sal Astor, is skeptical of Carol's abilities, but she wins anyway. Congress s over er, with a song and dance number. Mike settles in nicely as president and pushes to make the country even better without playing petty politics. Meanwhile, Veronica Webb grumbles to Astor that he should be president, and the two plot to overthrow Mike and Carol by running their image. Greg develops a crush on Veronica, and she exploits him to divulge any useful information on his family. The Bradys are good and innocent, but Veronica manages to spin their most innocuous moments into huge scandals. She claims Mike is still involved with a woman from his past. Carol is accused of being a radical hippie when she protested the destruction of a park. Marcia is called promiscuous because she wrote about a fictional or erotic encounter with Desi Arnaz Jr. in her diary. Greg is accused of underage smoking because a cigarette was found in his coat. Peter is accused of bribery for getting a better grade after he complimented a teacher. Jan is accused of cheating for getting a better grade on an essay. And Alice is accused of drugging the food so the Bradys stay happy all the time. Although this plan garners significant news coverage, it is not enough to impeach the Bradys. Veronica and Sal all devise a second plan to trick Mike Brady into informing the public that a world-ending asteroid is about to hit Earth. They succeed by switching a report from NASA regarding data from a space probe with Peter's science project. Mike addresses the public, telling them he received a report from NASA that confirms a massive meteor is on a course and will cause global devastation. The Bradys are then transported to a secret bunker underneath the White House that will protect them from the ensuing danger. Sal Astor then seizes the opportunity to take power by calling an official press conference as acting president and mocks Mike Brady for falling for the hoax. Embarrassed, the public demands Mike's impeachment, but Cindy overhears Sal and Veronica plotting, and she informs the family so they can stop them. The Bradys break out of the bunker and interrupt the press conference to tell the truth. Mike then addresses the public, saying they deserve to know the truth, and goes on to start telling the story of the lottery ticket and how he got to be president. That was a huge story, Mike. You did good, Brady's. You did good. There's so many good memories of the Brady Bunch. Growing up and watching this, I have always been a fan of the character Jan, and Jan has always been my favorite, and she still is. Everyone seems to always point their eyes at Marcia, but to me, I think Jan is better. Alright, that is all I have for you guys. I hope you like this Brady Bunch video. Peace out.